quick update for today. I've been slacking because I've been busy with cars, and this car bites me every time I take it out, it seems. The turbo is off right now because the turbo had an issue with oiling since the other motor had an issue with oiling. I thought it would be fun to just keep it on and see how it fared, but this was Glitter Factory 1.0. As you can see, all of that material went into the turbo, and we took it over to the dyno, and I actually made like 1 or 2 pulls, but it was making mid 5s, and then like after a pull or 2 it was making about low 5s, so it was on its way out. I'm like, okay, either something's totally wrong or the turbo is, you know, almost junk. I never checked the turbo at the dyno, but I figured, you know, I was like, Jamie, let's just take the car back. I brought the Kia support vehicle. I'm like, let's just drop the Kia off and go do burnouts. I got some nice truck, Commander, whatever, AT, Firestone on this side, Destinations, and then something Commando on the other side. I'm like, fuck it, let's just go do burnouts. Well, we do one burnout in that video, and it's laying over pretty hard in like high gear. It should be all over the limiter and the road, and it was just like a pretty good burnout for most people, but I thought it was pretty shitty. And I went to roll into it again, I had no boost. So once I came home, the compressor was basically stuck. I mean, I took this all apart just for fun, but you couldn't even turn the turbo. You would cut your hand just trying to spin the turbo. I had to use a giant adjustable just to try to spin the turbo. It was that tight. So what I did was ordered another turbo from Jose. I hate trying the same thing. That's why I tried a different cam, because I wanted to see if I would overcam the 83 turbine on that turbo. And the turbo blew up before I could do the rest of my testing, but I'm pretty sure in a 5.3 with the correct cam, that turbo will go 800 horsepower to the tire, which is incredible for a budget turbo. So what I did now is I always wanted to try this is a T4 kit here that Tony Reiner's built. Beautiful work, obviously. Tony Reiner's can do no wrong. So I got a T4 flanged S475, but with the 96 turbine, the big boy turbine, in a T4. So hopefully I should be able to bolt it in and bolt the downpipe right on and everything and resume beating the shit out of this thing. It'll be neat to see how much boost it makes the same power levels at, how much better, because most people would be confused. They would say, well, you're taking off an 88 millimeter and you're putting on a 75 millimeter. Well, I'm not like an expert by any means, but what I've learned is if anything dictates the power, the compressor does a pretty good job, but the turbine is what limits your power. So what sucks about most of these Chinese turbos, I bought this turbo, that's why it's covered, otherwise I don't cover them. A couple of you probably want to make fun of me. But that's a 7665 on 3 copy. I don't know where it was from, but I got it from my friend. But the 65 turbine is what ends up choking the motor, because the motor can't get the exhaust gas out through the turbine at some point. And usually they're a copy of an old design, so they're lazy. That 88 millimeter, people say the Precision, the PT88, the old one, was pretty lazy too, so it seems right that the copy is pretty lazy also. So it will be neat to see how fast the S475 spools and how much power it makes, etc. So hopefully that'll be here within a week or 2. Jose is going to build it and write some things on the inside of the turbo, hopefully, before he ships it. And then what I also did was, this motor, I got the lifter valley cover with it. I got the oil pressure sending unit with this motor, so I figured out the scale just by testing it with a compressor. I'm going to put this back into the oil pressure port in the galley and monitor oil pressure. In MS3 you can actually have it do stuff when the oil pressure drops off. There's a little bit of wiring here. You can, I know some of you will flip out. I got a 12 position AEM switch. It has 12 clicker positions, pretty neat. It's like a 0 to 5 volt output, just like a map sensor or anything else. It's called a trim pot. And what I did with that is I wired it into another input, and I'm going to use that to control boost. So that'll be in the dash, and I can change the amount of boost. I'll be showing some neat things on that when I get it back together and going. I'll show the oil pressure and the dial of boost and everything else. Other than that, that's it for now. I'm going to do another quick one on showing the ethanol content sensor. A lot of people have been asking about that. They're very interested, so we'll show that next. That's it for this guy waiting on a turbo.